Good afternoon and welcome to Mentorship Monday, our weekly show where we talk to our mentors who are in the Inspire Mentorship program. I'm so excited today, guys. We have an amazing mentor who's in the creative arts. So I think this is going to be one of our most unique and exciting conversations on the platform. So I'd like to introduce Liatile Mohale, who's the founder and artistic director of Bahale Arts Development Centre. She's an alumnus of Machabeng College and the University of the Free State, where she studied a BA in Theatre Arts, and San Francisco State University, where she did a master's in drama. In May 2016, the College of Liberal Arts at SFSU presented her with the Graduate Student Award for Distinguished Achievement for her contribution to the enrichment of theatre. She recently started teaching drama and theatre at Machabeng College after a 1-year hiatus. So, welcome, Liatile.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
How are you, Dee?
I am great.
Yeah,
I'm great.
I'm really excited to have you here. I always love chatting to you about the creative arts, which I don't know much about, but I always love hearing about the work that you're doing.
What am I not doing? Let's start there. What am I not doing?
All right, so before we get there to what you're doing, can you please tell us about yourself and your background?
Okay, well, you've said the first part. Ke holetse Hamabote. I'm an artist. I'm a lover of drama. I think I've just always been so good at it, and yes, it has opened my world in so many ways. Apart from that, I do so many other things. I am into farming.
Wow.
I do speech and voice training. I do drama workshops, working with youth in different parts of the country. I write academic papers. I do so many things.
You do a lot.
Yes,
Okay.
I do so many
So we'll
things.
get into all of those things. I think for starters, you say that you've always loved the arts.
Yes.
Did you grow up loving the arts, or did you grow up more thinking that you're going to be like a teacher, those kind of vocations?
Actually, I never knew what I wanted to be until I think I was about 22 or so. But I've really always just been good at drama. I've just always been good at it. And because I've always been good at it, I've just followed that route,
And is this because you guys did drama in school? That's
Yes,
how you got to find out that you were good at
yes.
drama.
I remember when I was one of my first plays was the nativity play, and I was playing the narrator. And I can still remember my lines from that. And I was like, what, 5?
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And then I remember one time we were at a community function, and my mom had written this poem, and I had memorized it. And then she just thrust me into the crowd and said, perform this, And I remember performing it, and when I finished, everybody's like, and I cried because I'd never, received that kind of appreciation. But I've just always been really good at it. I did in school, and then the rest is history.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think if you had gone to a school that didn't do drama, do you think you would have still ended up in this career?
I think so. I remember I had applied to the National University, and I remember after I completed my Form 5/IGCSE, my first choice was drama, second choice was culture studies. So I think I would have been in the humanities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Drunk up as well.
Yes.
Okay. So you did IB as well.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
How important was IB? Like, what role did it play to your success in university before we even get to the university journey? Yeah.
Oh, IB was great. IB was great in that I got to do the subjects that I was good at. Unfortunately, some students don't necessarily have the opportunity to choose the things that they're good at.
Yeah.
But I think I was placed in a position where I could choose the subjects I was good at, theatre arts being one of them, and languages as well. So I think languages and history. So it was such a beautiful combination. And when I look at me doing theatre arts, it's almost like all the subjects, that's where they came together in theatre arts. So yeah, I still refer to some of the things that I learned in IB even today. Like I love philosophy. I also am a teacher of theory of knowledge. So that's also
that's the only thing I knew from like IB. From my friends that were studying IB, I just knew that they're doing theory of knowledge.
Oh, listen. Okay. Discourses and those kinds of conversation, I'm there.
So a lot of people, I studied in South Africa, I did my matric in South Africa, and then went straight to varsity. And a lot of the times the universities talk about how they feel like students are not really ready for university when they go to university. Do you feel like something like IB helps with that readiness?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because it's like, I think, an extra year or something before one goes to university.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because a lot of what we do in IB is very similar to what students experience in first year.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when I got to first year, they were teaching things that I learned in IB. And I was like, guys, hurry up. Listen.
Catch up so that you can start the real stuff.
Exactly. There's a lot of independent work, a lot of research. So really, by the time you're done with the IB program, you really have a sense of self.
Yeah.
Understand yourself. You are not afraid to be thrust into the bigger world.
And I think you still have the safety of being with the people that you studied with, but also going into this mature state of studying.
Exactly.
I know it's quite serious and intense, actually.
But one of the great things about it was we had that freedom to experiment. It was a safe space for trying out new things and learning in the process. So I think anyone going into tertiary studies, I wish they could get that same opportunity wherever they get it from, to be safe, to feel safe enough to make mistakes,
Would you advocate for somebody taking like a gap year in cases where they don't really have IB? Like, what do you think? Have you ever thought about something like that?
I would. I'm not really familiar with the gap year idea, but I do know usually either
high school before they start their first year. They decide, I'm not gonna go to school for the whole year. I'm just gonna like do things to discover myself. So some people will maybe volunteer, some people will travel if they have a lot of money, but they say, I don't really want to go straight into varsity. I want to like just understand the world a bit more, and maybe it will help me make decisions about what to study.
I just think people should be, when you go into university, be open-minded, and if a gap year is something that is available to you, go for it. That level of experience, it's invaluable. So if such an opportunity is available, take it. But it's okay. Go into university and be open to trying out new things. And when you get to university, get involved.
Okay. Wow. So university. Let's talk about university. So firstly, before you share your experience of university, I know that, or I've heard a lot of people talk about the arts as if it's something that you don't have to study to follow. What is your view on that? And then maybe as you talk about that, also tell us about your university experience and all of that.
Well, depending on the route you want to take, I think if all you want to do is just do art, do theater, or I don't want to talk about education in the formal sense.
Well, yeah.
But I really think you can't just go in there and be like, I'm talented. I'm gonna wing it. No, it's a discipline just like any other. It has its own language, own techniques, and you really have to be ready before you get into the field. Especially the field of the arts, it's quick. You gotta, catch things fast. So some people don't have it. They just, I don't know, they need background. You need substance. And hangata, if you didn't have the opportunity to study it or to experiment at an early age, you don't have substance. Most of the time, and I'm not saying this is it's for everybody. most of the time it becomes about being in the limelight. It's just about what people see.
Yeah.
You know,
but there's a lot of work that
exactly
happens
in the background. Exactly. And you get to respect the work so much, I think, when you have studied it. But like I said, it's not meant for everybody, but from my experience, the studying really helps. Yeah, it gives you like a solid something to stand on. Yeah.
So what was your university experience like, both in the Free State and in the United States?
I think drama or theater is probably one of the few subjects that, as you do, you're already in your field. And although people undermine drama sometimes, but really it's like from the onset,
when you're in class and you're doing it,
exactly. From the onset, you know that you are doing this with a product in mind, with performance in mind, with a goal in mind, and you know that people from anywhere are gonna come to your performances, even first year, So it was for me, because I was doing something that I really, really loved. It was just like an extension of myself, So, well, I just felt like with every project that we got into, I got to grow more and more and more, and it never felt like cracking my brain. It just felt like really an extension of myself. Now I'm in a different setup, and I have to, I'm being pushed into a higher dimension of myself.
Wow.
So that's, for me, that's what university was like. I also did integrated marketing communications along with it. So I was also able to see relevancia theater in other areas as well. So it was an interesting combination. I was a member of this organization called SIFE.
Yes, Students in Free Enterprise.
Exactly, yeah.
It's now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I was in that as well. So that's where I just got to see such a nice blend.
Wow.
Of
Why did you decide? So for people that may not know, SIFE is like an entrepreneurship group for students. It's now in Actors. It's now called in Actors.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very curious as to why you decided that as a student of the arts, I'm going to go into SIFE, because I think from you also, I thought it was only people that did commerce and that would go there. Well, so that's very interesting.
I have to be honest, it was good peer pressure that got me into it. My friends were the members of SIFE, and they would tell me all the nice stories about all the nice guys that were inside.
That's good motivation.
But they also would tell me about the nice things they do. Oh, Nerila Holland, we won the nationals. So I wanted to be part of that, So that's how I got into it, and then also because I had a marketing background, I figured it would be a good place, especially some of the projects that they do. So I thought, okay, let me see how I could bring in my skills. So it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. And the good thing also about SIFE was, listen, this is not just for students, your commerce, but anybody can be part of this. So I was like, oh, okay. And I was really at home. Another extension of myself.
Wow.
Yes.
What skills did you contribute there? And then what skills did you learn from the experience that have been useful to you?
I remember one of the things we did, so how nowhere to the national competitions, I was the one who wrote down all the points, who organized points.
Yes.
And also I think I remember I gave the opening speech for when my group was. So it was.
And I can imagine you were different. You stood out.
Exactly.
Probably the other people were from commerce and more like business, like, and you were like.
And it was really nice. I do remember I got this. People just laughed in the beginning, and that was the whole point. So it was really good reception.
Yeah.
But apart from those, speech making skills and. I also really, from the guys that I was working with, I was really able to see how different people from different backgrounds have a common goal. We just make it happen.
You can make it happen.
So it was really nice. Just
This is very interesting. When I talk to entrepreneurs in our SMME development initiatives, I always tell them that, when you're a business person and you're starting a business, the common thing that people do is, let's say I'm in IT and I have a friend in IT, and now we're going to start a business together. And I'm like, but that doesn't make sense, because you have to come together with people that have different skills.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It would make more sense if I'm in IT and you're in the arts, and someone is in finance, that we come together. And I think that's what you experienced there.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember there were, we had this like audio-visual presentation thing, and there was some guys from IT, and we all spoke the same language as far as the goal was concerned.
Yeah, you brought different
exactly.
things.
So it was just really nice. Emma was a medical doctor, I think,
wow.
So it was really interesting to see because we had the same goal, we just complemented each other. Yeah.
Wow. This is so cool. We always talk about on this program how people should get involved from as early as possible. And you're saying you were performing when you were young, you were doing this in university. Now tell us about studying in the US. Did you work first before you studied? You went to study in the US?
Actually, I did. I was actually a teacher for like a long time. Much in college still. I always just have a way of going back. I taught for about 7 years, and in that space during that time, I asked so many questions. I asked myself questions. I looked around me and I asked so many questions. I never got answers, and these questions just kept being thrown at me. Excuse me. And I think that by the time I got the opportunity to go to the US, I think the universe just said yes. I can see it's almost like I was at a point in my life where I felt like I cannot continue teaching unless I have answers to 1, 2, 3. And
what are some of the questions, if I may ask?
Some of the questions were things like, why is it that whenever you see drama, it's always about it's always it's always, you never get to see your everyday person being portrayed in a heroic position. You never get to see and being happy and just you never get to laugh. Why is it that there's one thing that I was translating, another thing I do. I was translating one document, and in a about something setting and there were so many cultural misrepresentations there. And I questioned this, and it was a program in a Fanduaki people from the US, and I questioned this, and then they were like, no, we did a research, and and so much of that kind of literature is around, and and we never question these things. So I was like, I'm not like this. And I'm like, the people were like, why are people agreeing
with
this?
Why
do we agree to be portrayed in this way? So that, I think that was the question that made me be like, hang on, okay, whoa. Yeah.
Because now you had to teach this material, right?
Exactly.
You were like,
exactly. Okay, so my thing is, and I think it's always been a part of me, I teach from a place of truth.
Yes, of course.
And if it's not truthful to my spirit, I cannot, go on.
How do you go on?
How do I go on? Yeah. And I've just been so fortunate for I'm in an industry, or I'm teaching a subject that allows me to teach from a place of truth. So nekile point what, I cannot teach this. Happy when I look at things around me, there's so much untruth that we are basing our lives on.
So Dee, why is it important? Like, why was it important to you that these stories are told in the most truthful way? I guess what I'm asking is, what impact does it have on our society if we're reading stories about ourselves in a way that really doesn't represent who we are?
Oh my God. You know how now, for example, there's this whole thing where people are now questioning the image of beauty, which is being put out there. People are like, no, but Harajena, and I cannot achieve this, and then people are like,
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic, and you know, people are going, becoming depressed. They feel like I cannot achieve this, and it's a misrepresentation of the everyday normal person. You know, same thing. These stories, they don't represent me. Like, you know, the men that I know, at least who are directly like in my life, they don't rape women when they wake up. They don't look. But there are good men in society. And hangata ka fumana hore ha o bua ka banna ba Basotho, banna ba Basotho ba tjena in these stories, you see, ha o bua ka bomme ba Basotho in these stories, ba hlekefetsa, they are oppressed, and you know, submission ena re docile, but and I think when we see these stories in front of us, we start to believe these things, and we take on these things, and we block our creativity, we block our positivity, and I couldn't. So it's
That's
important that we portray ourselves as we are. You know.
That's powerful. So I've often spoken about, you know, I was raised, my parents passed away when I was young, my mom when I was 10, my dad when I was 4. And the fact that growing up, like my sister would go to these UNICEF type of events, you know, they'll say we want a group of orphans and we want to teach them things. First of all, my sister would always like be called to the side and be asked, "Are you really an orphan?" Because she didn't look like one. And her ideas, like she didn't define herself as an orphan. And my experience personally is that like maybe people would like call me and say, "So tell us your story," or maybe a friend from the US or a foreigner friend who knows my story would then, or that part of my story would then say, "DK, come tell them your story. It's so powerful." And I'd be like, what? Like, and I was like, well, you know, talk about other things. And then they'll say, and also like you lost your parents at a young age. But I thought that's not it. I don't know, it doesn't define me. It happened, and maybe it has a different impact on other people, but it wasn't like the one thing, the first thing that came to mind when I wanted to define myself. So I can really resonate. What you're saying really resonates with me as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember one time I went to I think I was in the US, and I went to the doctor. So, you know, how gala what's okay, who are you? Utsakai, Lesotho. Oh yeah, I hear there's a lot of, you know, AIDS there.
You're at a doctor. What does he or she say? Oh my gosh.
You understand? So, I mean, but I mean, what about? I've heard there's a wonderful student called so and so. Who's making great things. There's, you know.
Wow.
Change the narrative.
Nice. All right. So you went to the US on a scholarship. What was the process of like? How did you get a scholarship?
The universe just. Correct. Everything was aligned, and like I said, I was earlier. I'd gotten to a point where I was like, "Whoa, I need answers," and it just so happened, when I was at that point, just going through Facebook, and then saw the scholarship, and I was like,
"This is what I need."
Bona, this, and I could just hear my name being called, and. That's how it happened. I inquired, and and then all the questions. You see, I felt like, it was the right moment because my application letter. I just felt like, this is a space for me to now put all those questions that I had.
Okay, now why do I want to?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was such a Correct. In fact, I was talking about it earlier. It was such a fun process, the application for me, because Negibua Kadintotseo that were
They were
coming
real.
from that were real. That were coming
Yeah.
from a place of truth.
Yeah.
It just felt like, and I wasn't even talking jargon.
Yes.
You know, I wasn't talking big words, that drama or no, I was just talking real things and how I see drama coming in. So it was that was it. And I was just
So what would your advice be for young professionals that are maybe looking to go and do their postgraduate? How do they prepare for like looking for a scholarship? How should they look for? I feel like, just to sort of give context to my question, that a lot of us, when we do our first degree, it's usually like the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But when you go and do, your postgrad, you now have an opportunity to really do a bit more research and have it more meaningful than just like a tick box.
Yeah.
What would your advice be?
Yeah. I like how they make it should be more meaningful. For anybody wanting to do their masters, I think it should be in something that moves you, something that you genuinely have an interest in. And it should not, no, maybe I'll say it should not be, but it should come from a place of genuine, like, when like, what does it mean to you? You know, and if you can see how whatever it is you're doing in Yalana, what it is that you want to study, then I think that would probably be a good place to start. Yeah. I mean, I know that many people apply for these scholarships because they're like, okay, you know,
and then there's a scholarship.
Yeah, there's a scholarship,
and it sponsors 1, 2, 3
exactly.
courses. So you need to choose something.
Yeah.
Within those,
you know, I mean, chances are you might make it, but what you know, I was listening to Lemma Khwadibe last week, and she was talking about what moves you, what are you curious about?
Yes.
You know,
yes.
What are you curious about? So if you're starting to I think you should be curious about something.
Yes.
And you should how about the masters should then answer
these curiosities.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're saying you had a lot of questions that you were asking yourself.
Yes.
And I think also people need to know that their questions are legitimate.
Oh, absolutely.
I think a lot of the times people feel they take questions as if it's confusion. Like if you're in your career and you start feeling like, I don't like my job, why do we do things the way we do them?
Yeah.
And they start asking themselves questions, they start feeling uncomfortable.
Yes.
And then they feel like, oh, maybe I'm just an unstable person. Maybe I'm not normal. I just have to find a normal.
Yes.
But I think, like you say, your questions can lead you to the next phase of your life.
Absolutely.
That can help you answer those questions.
And I think one of the things that have made me so comfortable with questions is my background in drama, because it was all about inquiry, and you want to find out what would create a certain effect. So really, you're right. Your questions are valid. They come from. Don't be afraid of questions. They come from a place of wanting to know. You know, you might feel a little confused, and you want to find a way to get out of this confusion. So those questions, they're very valid. Yes. It's about finding the platform to ask them
safely and try and get the answers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So talking about the skills that you learned, you just said in drama you learned inquiry. What other skills have you learned in drama that are useful in any career or in life in general?
Sure. So many.
Yeah.
You see, drama is a study of human experiences. It's so, inquiry. You really get into that thing of wanting to know. And everybody should be curious, whatever field you're in.
Yeah.
Being curious. And I mean, one of the things that I think I'm really good at this one is talking, and expressing my ideas. So that, I mean, I really learned this skill in drama, and I think everybody should get the opportunity to do that. And being articulate, being able to like organize your thoughts, being able to speak your truth, regardless of what field you're in. This is something that's so important. Empathy, understanding people, understanding because of our before us.
And our environment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if mashallah you learn about, you hear something on BBC or something about a certain culture, but before we make judgments, let's find out, oh, okay, what do these people culture wrong? So you really learn to appreciate people.
Yeah.
And you get to know there's so much more to a person than what you just learned at Zingina. Even like this, you can, like, you for a week and you think you
know me.
Do you know I've got 37 years of experience behind me?
Yeah.
So I think drama really gets you to appreciate, or whatever situation you're in, whether you want to get data on something, there's a story behind that data. So it's also about connecting things. You learn, okay, for me to know this, it exists within a bigger frame. A bigger sphere. So you learn to connect to these things to make that one thing. Yeah.
So you are now working with the youth.
Yes.
Right? And you have a startup called Bahale Arts Development. What kind of work are you doing there, and why? What is your intention with that program, or the programs that you're running?
Bahale Arts Development Centre is, well, first of all, I think the arts are starting to, there's a buzz. The arts are starting to, like,
especially in the country.
Exactly. In the country, there's but how na mentorship, how na you there are lots and lots of very enthusiastic aspiring artists, and some are studying the arts in schools, but habana a point of reference for success, for mentorship. So for me, I believe, or my experience has put me in a position monka fananga direction, mentorship, skill development in the arts. So that's what we do. And also another thing, I like to put on good shows, So one of the things that I really want to do is put on good plays, the kind that people talk about, the kind that big, entertaining,
yes.
So that's another, like, main thing, the development aspect. For me, as somebody from a theater background, that's what Bahale is about.
And in which communities are you working? Like, where are you working from? How are you getting the students to work with? What's your approach?
Okay, so about a couple of, maybe 8 months or so, over solid. And we used to also, as a drama person, your work offices can be anywhere where there's space. So I was more lady, so how did I get people? Facebook, WhatsApp, anybody interested? And then people just like, yep. So fortunately, I got a group of former students by drama who also needed experience. So it was such a good place to give them experience. Also, I've got other people just from around who like drama, and they were like, come through. And obviously and obviously if they die hard, but what's wrong, where is that? Exactly. So that's how we ended up.
Wow. So you raise a very interesting point on work experience, which is something I'm passionate about, which is why we're doing this mentorship program, skills development, and opportunities for skills development.
Yes.
What do you think we need to do as a country to develop skills, in particular within the arts, so that when somebody has studied, creative arts, they can go into a job or like an opportunity to practice what they have learned?
First of all, I think those people with experience need to naturally, as a country, as a country, our we need development. We are at that phase, and unfortunately, mo re leng teng hona tjena is not where how to school you can just get into the arts and start making a living. We're not there. As we need to develop audience. We need to develop actors. We need to develop a culture.
Yeah.
So I think people who are experienced enough, we need to be in a place more offering the skills to the ones coming behind, because it's so important that we do that, because motho e mong le mong o hloka ho tataiswa, and when there's no leadership, things they're not solid. So leadership is so important in that it gives direction, it gives a cohesive
a structured way
grow, exactly. And man, there is so much unstructuredness in the country at the moment. God, that's even a word. There's just everybody's just doing their thing. But for the most part, with a leader, it's cooking to tata. Even our top leadership, if you look at the country, top leadership, they've got this thing. I'm going my way. But and so how do you expect the ones coming after but what idea do we want them to have of leadership? You understand? So rona re na le experience, re na le discernment. We have foresight, re na le tjhebelopele le ka morao ra tseba. So like we are in such a good space to provide direction, and to learn as well, as we lead.
And what you're saying is interesting, because like you say, the arts are still underdeveloped in the country, but it will take all of you guys in the arts industry to come together and provide that direction, and as you say, create a market of people that are interested in what you're doing, and then only then will people start earning and making lots of money.
It's true, Bani. Like I said, everybody wants to, when they go into the arts, have a winter feeling. I'm sorry. Film again, study. Studying, not only the know-hows, but now you can look at these other things. Because if there's no market for your movies, then
you're not gonna
make money more na more day. If you're an actress and you're like this killer actress, and you okay, hakata skolo kapa, even if Hawaii skolo, I appreciate it. But also another, they're so rich. My friends are making money in SA.
We need to work towards that. Someone needs to build.
Exactly.
And I keep on saying that, in all honesty, I don't think that, not just in the arts, even in other professions, I think we are like maybe the sacrificial generation. And the sooner we accept that, the better. Like, we all want to be millionaires, but I think none of us will be millionaires, maybe one or two. I think, but we need to be intentional in building the systems and putting things in place to make sure that those people that come after us will be the ones that now get a bit of value from the things that we've built. Right?
Totally. I don't remember ever knowing this kind of a program. So and I really like the sacrificial lambs. And I think to see value in it, we really need to appreciate
that. That is important. It's important that if we don't sacrifice, the next generation will still be fighting the battles that we're fighting.
If nobody plants the seeds, nothing will grow.
Wow. All right. So let's talk about you are in the Inspire Mentorship program. You're a mentor, an amazing one at that, I have to say, guys. But what role have mentors or coaches, or a support system, what role have those people played in your life?
It's so interesting to see other people being powerful in their own spaces as well, making a difference. And it's I don't know how to put this in a way. I'm gonna say a little story or a little whatever in a very respectful way.
Yeah.
Kind of setting, you think you're the it,
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
and honali in when somebody else is making it money, you're like,
But
exactly,
I deserve that. Yeah.
But having come into the space and seeing other people in
Wow.
I'm gonna put it that
Wow.
way. In so because in truth, I cannot be a successful everything.
Yeah.
There are other people who
Yeah.
are doing great things, and
Yeah.
the day I stop this thing of being self-centered and
Yeah.
thinking that I'm the beginning and end of all
Yeah.
greatness, so for me personally, for my growth as a person, that's what the program has done for me. Being in the same space with other people who are doing great things in their work, it has humbled me and made me appreciate there are other people doing great works and you can learn from them.
And the fact that there's so much that has to happen in the country and there's so much that is happening. Like what we are doing as well, it's just a small part of what needs to happen in this country.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to be the biggest mentorship program in the country.
Yeah.
We just have to do very well in our corner, Wow. And I think the other thing is, I hope I don't forget what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that usually people that have been overseas, that have studied overseas. I have not studied overseas, but I've worked there. I went for the Mandela Washington Fellowship as well. Like I feel like usually we feel entitled. We feel like when we come back home, I studied in the US, so I need to get a good job. I need to be successful. And I think that's where also that ego comes from, right?
Yes.
And now when you get exposed to other people, you're like, she's amazing.
Yes.
She's in her, in her own right.
Exactly.
And she's actually more amazing than I thought I was.
Yeah. You really get to learn you are not entitled.
Yes.
You're not entitled to every definition of greatness that there is. For everybody, and you appreciate karolo yo we bapalang. And when you appreciate karolo yo bapalang, I think you also let other people get to appreciate you.
Yes.
And you also get to appreciate them, and it's like we get to coexist.
Yes.
It's no longer just about me. You realize, we are all going towards
all of us have something to offer.
Exactly.
Somebody was asking me, I was a guy actually in the mentorship program was saying, how do you prepare for these things? How do you ask such great questions? And I said, it's because I believe the person I'm talking to has a much better story to tell than me. So I'm not there to shine my own light. I'm not there to talk about myself. I actually believe that Dee has a lot to share today, and I think one thing that I think I said this last week as well, that we as Basotho start to really acknowledging is that all of us have a beautiful story to share. All of us bring value. And I say, like, imagine if you're sitting in the taxi and you ask the person next to you, so, where are you from? What are you studying? Why are you studying that? Where do you work? Like, besides talking about the usual things we talk about in taxis and in corners, then we'll actually start exchanging ideas and taking this country somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of taxis, some of my best conversations
happen there
in taxis.
Yeah.
Best research, taxis.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But you have to have the curiosity.
You have to have
some people just don't. So besides the mentorship program, like even before the program, did you have mentors? What did your support system look like?
I've never had a mentor in this
like a formal sense of the word. Yeah.
I've just been fortunate enough to have so many wonderful people in my corner or in my bomme ba baholo, you know, people in the US who've just somehow had an impact in my life in different ways. One of my really good friends and mentor is my former stage management lecturer. Another one was my counselor. You know, my mom is one. Bomme ba baholo be ke sebetsang le bona.
Yeah.
Everybody has had an impact. Oh, hang on. One of the people that I really like when I think about this is the kind of work I'd like to do is the lady who's the artistic director of Barrington Stage Company in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. She's also another person who, when I talk about being an artistic director, my goodness, how can I forget her name? I remember Judith Boyd. Yes, no, yeah, Judy Boyd.
Judy Boyd.
Yes, yes. She was such a like. How can I kibata who na ibe when I get into my work ya Bahale, kima muthu enkareng has sort of paved the way for me. Nka qopitsa method wa high and kiwatolus. That's her. Yeah.
Wow. So what did you learn from these mentors?
Oh my God. You know, from June, from Mrs. Boyd, what I learned was just the ins and outs of managing a theater company. I mean, she's just, yeah, go. I mean, I can go forever. And then, my God, from my stage management lecture, oh my God, leadership. It was, for me, that was a space to reflect. And it was such an affirmative space for me. So from her, I learned how to affirm other people. Be a place where people can see their stories drawn and see their existence validated, you know. And my counselor as well, Dr. Lightfoot, Lena, like I had all these like crazinesses and these low self-esteems, and it was just like, lady, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? You know, so that, and then some of the ladies because and you know, keep us so true, but they're so strategic, and you'd think, you know, keep us so true, but sing with it. So I got to see the modern and the traditional coming together in these people, and oh, my mom is just like, I mean, she's on it, you know. But now I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
You know, so like in different ways, these people, and there are many more
shaping you.
You know, exactly, yeah.
So you said you do farming as well now, and I think is that where you're working with these women? Not really.
So nna ke hotse ke isitse sekolong ka tšhelete ya phofo ya mabele le ditapole, and it's just who I am. So and my mom has just always been a farmer. She's always been about that life. Really, I think Hansa Hola, you know, as teenagers, saying, you know, but Hansa Hola, and you get to see the relationship between agriculture and humanity. You're like, this is where it's at, you know. So when I was also studying drama, I got to learn about some other practitioners who their foundation is agriculture, and ilahaki shaba my upbringing and where I am now. God, I could see it's everything is coming together. So with me now in farming, my mom has aged gracefully, so she's I think she's become very motivated. Ha bona ke batla ho ya le yena masimong, and so she's I think during the lockdown only essential services. So I went with her, and then I just started sharing ideas. Next thing, somehow all this knowledge, and she was just like, listen, if you want to do this, this is it. So I was like, okay, maybe this is my chance to now get into it.
Yeah. And I mean, when she can no longer do it,
exactly,
who should carry it on? And it also, I mean, in everything that you're saying, to me, it goes back to the storytelling as well.
Yes.
Your mom telling you about this.
Yeah.
Instead of us having to go read about agriculture in textbooks or going overseas to learn about these things, we have people here that can actually tell us, how to do this.
Absolutely.
And give us that knowledge.
People are not coming the other day. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that is so amazing. All right. So we've spoken about the state of the creative arts industry in Lesotho. How do you keep up to date with developments in the industry as a professional?
Yeah. It's funny, Ubani. When I started to embrace the idea of, listen, you gotta be updated. It was kind of what's the word?
How did that
intimidating?
How did that idea come to you? When you have to keep updated.
I think when you always hear people like people, you have to learn what's happening, new trends and whatnot. Happily, having been to the US as well, seeing how things are done, you're like, okay, hey man, Lena, I gotta step up my game. So that's how I got to accept, or excuse me, Mutu, you need to be updated. So I get I'm on Twitter. I follow these companies on Twitter a lot.
These theater
companies and influential people in theater. I think Twitter's like one of my like places where I get to see what's going on. And then also as a teacher, because you, like, as you are learning something, it opens up another world, and you're like, oh, okay, so that's really how I get to know what's happening in other spaces, and this is how I get to up my game as well. But I have to say, it's scary how knowing that there are other things that you don't know. Keeping up with the trendy is also about accepting you don't know. And it's scary to accept that you don't know. But I think I got to a point where I don't know became a reason for me to now want to know.
And want to know. Wow.
So that's how I
and I think I really like the idea of a theater company, and I don't know if a lot of people know, or young people like our audience knows, that the creative arts is one of the industries that the National Strategic Development Plan 2 wants to develop. There are 4 industries: agriculture, which you're in, creative arts, and manufacturing and tourism. So those are the, like, if you want to go into that industry, that's where the funding is, or that's where the funding is going to be in the next couple of years as we start really implementing this strategy. So
I think with that, it's not a fear, but I've got lots of questions about how it's going to be implemented. Hobani, unfortunately, and this is a very sad reality, the Tabata creative arts in the country, they're in the hands of people who don't know the creative arts. And there's a lot of fiddling.
You
can see that even in education. Usually, for example, I think it's part of that implementing the national curriculum now. Who to do drama? Oh my God! Whoever started this project, regarding
the creative arts,
you know,
which is where we come in as
exactly,
professionals.
yes.
And I always say this in all our meetings. Okay, guys, we have to get involved.
We do.
We have to sit in the boards. We have to sit in the committees. We have to go and get involved, so that we have a voice. The people that know, because it's traditionally it was just people sitting in their offices. They hire American or European consultants, and they just come up with a blueprint. Without any consultations. But now we have to be involved. And it always saddens me when I hear like young professionals thinking that the only place to go make a difference is in politics, because that's not true.
That's not true.
Here is something that you are saying is a reality, and an opportunity for you to get involved.
In fact, I think that the mere fact that everything is so bare, the professional in these spaces. Look, this country is potential waiting to
happen.
Exactly.
It's the easiest place to
listen. People would ask me, drama Lesotho. I'm like, listen, if I go to South Africa, how many me's are there? There are so many people like me. But Lesotho, there are not very many people like me. And to me, it's like, it's a space. So get that thing of getting involved, so important. But also I think with getting involved, there's also the skill of how to get involved,
of course,
because sometimes I was talking to somebody and they're just like, Kore, how and I'm like, hang on,
you must earn your place at the table.
Tact, you know.
Serve, and then earn your and that's why we have a program such as the Mentorship program, because that's where we all try and impart this knowledge with each other to say, don't just get there. You're not entitled. What we've said over and over today.
I'm going to tell a very interesting story about that. So in 2008, I think, Likeleli, a member of a choir, another thing, is a member of a choir. So you know what? We really see potential in you, your leadership. And I was, you know, oh, me, okay. So, you know, people by it. Okay, I decided to stand for chairperson of the choir, and I made it, you know. And then like I was like, okay,
we're gonna change everything.
Okay.
You moved there.
Listen, I had all the I was like, and then you have second thing.
How did that go?
I didn't last. Okay. Come on, but it's 6 years like okay, you know, because I was like, okay,
what was the lesson there?
Good. The lesson was get to know people. As a leader, you're not there to change people. You are there to serve people. Get to hear where do people want to go? Where now una lead skills are getting them there. You know. So it's you know, there's such a there's a difference between give out your money and I'm
gonna take you all come. No.
So
that's not
everybody's gonna be like, So I really got to look. That's a failure that I like to talk about with people. I got to learn how. No, you've got to be with the people. You cannot lead people if you're not together with them. If you don't speak their language, their culture, if you don't know.
It's not about you.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
So
that's, guys, so much to talk about, so little time. Dee, this was an amazing chat. Time, an hour gone, just like that. But before we go, Dee, just one last message to young professionals or students that are looking to go into the creative arts. What is your one piece of advice? Very short.
Oh my God. If you love it, it's okay. You'll find a way to get to it. You know, your way will not be the same as Yamotemo. But if you love it and you're disciplined, you know, because loving one thing is something, discipline is another. If you like it, you're passionate, you're disciplined, it's
or
for
you're
you.
willing to develop that discipline if you don't have
exactly.
it.
Then go for it. And listen, the creative industry in Lesotho is waiting to happen, and it won't happen without people.
Yeah.
So come through it, you know, and let's explore, let's learn together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was too short. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on Mentorship Monday. Please share this video with all your friends, with anybody that is interested in the industry, and even, you know, beyond that, because there's all the lessons that we can learn, regardless of what profession you're in. So thank you. See you again next week, Monday, with another amazing mentor who's going to share their story. See you next time. Bye.